Hi, Randy Lotzberg here with MMA Exposed at the Whitby Fight Store, and I'm here with Antonio Pato Carvalho. Antonio, so you're very special to us at MMA Exposed. You are our very first interview we ever had on our website. So I just want to say thank you, and want to know what's been going on the last year. We were there for your before your UFC debut for 142. So what's been happening in the last year and a half?
Well, I'm very honored to be the first person that was interviewed for your website. So thank you. You guys have been doing great stuff, especially with a lot of the local talent. So thank you for that. I had my UFC run. It was fun, stressful, scary, all those things until the end. And now I'm officially not with the UFC anymore, which was a bit of a bummer. But there's lots of things that go through my head, and I've gone through several different periods, from anger, bitterness to now I kind of understand why things are the way they are, but at the same time, I don't always agree with them. And usually, if there's one thing I don't do is I don't defend myself enough publicly, and I really should have defended myself better after the outcome of that last fight. And I always like to give people the benefit of the doubt and not throw anyone under the bus. But the truth is, that one didn't stick well with me because now it cost me my job, and I figured I would have gotten another shot. So that's one of those things that does bug me. I won't lie about that, and I'll be honest about that.
So speaking of another shot, do you have any plans of trying to make your way back into the UFC anytime soon? And if not, or whatever, what do you plan on doing in the future as far as your MMA career goes?
I'll be honest, I considered stopping fighting for good, and then I thought about it for a second, and the truth is I'm actually very healthy. There's some other things that I got to deal with myself that, if I ever decide to compete again, that I was trying to take care of in between, that part where I wasn't sure of, whether I was going to get cut or not. In fact, I didn't think I was going to get cut, which was the hardest part. So I have to deal with that if I decide I want to come back, and I don't know if I want to come back at all, or if I do want to come back yet. I'm sort of stuck in between. I've thought about it, and one day I'll wake up and say, no, that's it. And then the next day I'll be like, you know what? I still think I have something left in me. If I do come back to the sport, I'm not thinking I'm going to go back to the UFC, because that's just thinking way too far ahead. So I wouldn't do that to myself, and I would take things one step at a time, just like I always do.
So would you possibly be looking into maybe a contract with Bellator?
The one thing about if let's just say for sake of argument the goal is to go to the UFC, unfortunately you can't go from Bellator to the UFC. It doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, that's the way the sport is, and so I actually was looked at prior to signing with the UFC by Bellator. They actually offered something to me first, and the only reason why I didn't accept it right off the bat was because I had I didn't know for sure, but I had a feeling the UFC was looking at me. And of course that call came, and I realized that that's kind of where I wanted to be, because I felt like the best featherweights were there. So that was why I made that choice. I'm not one of those people that's kind of like that is all for like one specific promotion. I guess I'm about the sport. I love the sport. So for me, it's wherever the best guys are. It's not that I'm not loyal to the promotion that's paying me. I will, as long as they're paying me under contract. But as far as loyalty to a promotion, that's not my style. I love the sport. That's probably one of the reasons why I'm not as popular as I am, because I just love the sport, and I'm not out for, social media and all these other things. It's not my style, and I think that's probably one of the other reasons why I got cut. So
speaking of social media, shortly after you had got cut, you had a post on Facebook, and you were really positive. You had a really good attitude about everything, and I just want to sort of pat you on the back for that, because I know it's really hard, and especially everything's so cutthroat with the UFC, and especially after they bought out Strikeforce, and so the market's really saturated, and good for you. Also, now that you're not in training camp or anything, our first interview, you had said that once you're done your fight and training camps, you like to have Snickers. So we brought you some Snicker bars today, so you can indulge while you're taking some time to figure things out.
That I will.
And we also wanted to talk a little bit about your beard, because we love beards. Yes. So I brought you this product here. It's called Brown's Beard Oil, so you can take care of your man beard.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brown's Beard Oil. oils. This stuff. I'm looking forward to using this and making this beard even more epic.
Yes, yes, bringing sexy back, right?
Yes.
So, looking back at the last year and a half, what are some highlights that you know, were the best for you?
Going to Brazil and fighting was one. The outcome wasn't good, but at least it was quite an experience being there and going through that. Just the sting of the crowd alone was something I'll never forget when I walked out, and just the boos were just insane. It was like somebody was punching me in the chest. That I'll never forget. The fight itself, I thought it was a good scrap, so I'll always remember that fight for that. I thought the kid was very, very scrappy, and he escaped some of my stuff right at the beginning. So, it was memorable as an opponent. I liked him. He was a very respectful kid afterwards, and it was very interesting to see a young 22 or 23-year-old look at me and say, you know what, I've been, since I was a teenager, I watched you fight in Shudo, and you're one of those guys I looked at when I was coming up. So it was very interesting to actually have somebody tell that to me. And it's always been kind of the opposite for me telling somebody else that, as I came up too. So it was very interesting, and that I'll remember always, that whole experience, and reconnecting with my jiu-jitsu coach in Brazil and having him in my corner, and it was a very cool experience. I'll never forget that. So it was a good one. The Pineda fight, Daniel Pineda, of course, that was I'd say that was probably the highest moment for me in the UFC. I was just everything. It's funny because the camp actually didn't go very well, but the fight just went perfect, and I don't know what it was in the air that night, but I wish I could be that consistent with the way I move and how I do things, because I think for me it's always been more of a mental block than a physical thing when I fight, because if I, things like that can happen if I decide to open up, and the only reason why I don't do it consistently because it's up here, and the game is still 90% mental for me, and so I will remember that fight for the moment in Calgary when the knockout happened, and to hear all those fans cheering, and even the aftermath, being with my girlfriend and just going to Banff and hanging out with Brett Hitman Hart and all this stuff that I did that was, things I never thought would happen. And so I'll always remember that for sure, and just keep going down the line, going back to Montreal. I mean, it wasn't a great fight against Dam. Something went wrong that night. I wish I could, go back and change it, but it
No regrets, no regrets.
none, and it's all part of the experience. Again, last fight, bitter, but I also know where the mental lapse happened, and I also understand what happened that night, and I wish they would have given me more of a chance to see what I could do. I've seen lots of fighters get dropped hard, and my brain never shut off, and it was an awkward punch that hit me in the neck, and I knew what was going on. My brain never shut off. So actually when he hit me the second time, it actually woke me up. I just wanted a chance to see if I can defend myself, and I didn't get that chance, and I've seen other fighters, friends of mine that have been dropped. My buddy Sean Pearson, constantly. I don't like seeing it, but at least he knows he could have survived, and he survived and actually ended up winning the fights. I wish I could have given that shot too, and here I am. I won't have that chance. So.
Well, we hope to see you back in the octagon, and hope that you continue to follow your passion in MMA. You've got a great fan base here, and we also hope that you get your butt back on Twitter, because your fans love you. And I heard somebody earlier asking what happened to your Twitter account. So, keep it going and stay positive like you do. And thank you so much for talking with us today.